take the air port off so we can measure the manifold vacuum. It's hot. Okay.
Very good.
And that's just a port in there.
Yeah, I'll just screw it in there. All we need to do is one. They'll all be the same. Okay. All right, go ahead and start it up. All right, you're about 15 inches. I had actually 18 inches on my race engine there. This is even lower.
So the idle jets.
Or the little jets there, you'll see.
Do we have to check the float levels as well?
I'll show you how to do that real quick.
Okay, so we take these ones off here.
Because when you pull the idle jet out, if you look down the bottom of the hole, you're just going to see fuel if it's correct.
Okay.
Right down the little conical end.
Nope.
You see fuel there?
Nope.
And you know what? It doesn't really matter for the idle jets what the fuel level is particularly, because there's such a huge vacuum on there, like 1,000-fold stronger vacuum on the idle jets than there is on the emulsion tubes.
Okay, so that will suck the fuel into them.
So even if it was 10 millimeters down, it'll still suck it up, right?
Okay.
But it's critical to have the fuel level here for the emulsion tubes, because now the amount of suction is a few millimeters lifting the fuel up.
Yeah. Okay, so they're out.
Okay, so now what you want to do is, I want to show you these jets here. Give me the screwdriver. These things have little air bleed holes. See them drilled in there?
Yep, tiny.
That one you can't close.
Okay.
There's two over on this side.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to slide the little collar down, and we're going to have two holes open to begin with. So this is how this works.
Okay.
Like that.
Oh, I
Now,
see.
if you need, you can rotate the collar around and have 3 holes open, or if you just take the collar off, you got all 4.
Okay.
Okay? Usually 2 is about right. Now go ahead and pull that out. These are what I call the W jets for weak manifold vacuum. Because these are the regular Weber jets don't work with the manifold vacuum this level very well, as you found out already.
Yep.
I'm going to put some of the Venturi pump tubes in there. Dry jet you got here. 180. Yeah, they're awful big. All right, so pull the jets out, top and bottom. This is the dry jet up there, air.
Okay.
There's the fuel there for the what I call the wet jet right there. You need some needle nose pliers. You got them? They can be a little snug. Yeah, pull those out too.
Do they just slide out or do they screw out?
Well, they're interference fit. They should be.
But why
They're actually not so bad at wide open throttle, but that's it.
Okay.
But anybody can tune for a wide open throttle.
Yeah, it's drivability that
Yeah, it's the tractability down at low power that these tubes just totally suck. All right, here's your new tubes. These are called the large choke firecracker tubes. Now let me show you. This is a little spacer you're going to drop down in there, okay? But it's got a special feature here. If you need to swedge this thing down, look what it does for you. Now you can swedge this thing down without collapsing. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and put, here's the tubes, there's 4 of them. All right, here's the top end where that piece slides on.
Okay.
So put your dry jet in there. It doesn't have to be an interference fit. If it just falls in, it doesn't matter. It's held in by the... Now, go ahead and...
I'll show you one.
put one of those on there. Let's see if it fits. Should be an interference fit.
Beautiful.
Okay, nice fit so it doesn't fall out. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, and now a wet jet goes in here, like this. Okay, now what I've done here is these tubes are considerably shorter. Have you noticed?
Yeah. They are.
Okay, what I've done here is I've raised that jet up about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
To reduce the fuel column up above, to reduce the weight of the fuel column. You with me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that whatever vacuum that you generate here has more of effect, so you get a larger pressure differential across that wet jet there. Okay, so now what we do here is we drop each one of these in here, okay?
Okay, and that's just the spacer, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna, just the spacer. Now if you want to retrieve it, take a wooden pencil and just stick it in there and gently push it in. It'll lift right out. Okay, there's an alignment procedure because you have to clock these into position here.
Okay.
They have to be clocked in the right orientation for them to actually work, which is totally different from anything you've ever seen before.
Indeed. So
okay,
I'll put...
go ahead and put all these spacers in there. Now, how these tubes work, it works on the Bernoulli effect.
Yep.
Actually a Venturi, because it's that cylindrical well there for the E-tube.
Yep.
Forms a Venturi here when you drop the tube in.
Yep.
It's the radial gap there that defines how much velocity you have. All right, go ahead and put the tubes in and run them all down, because they need to be clocked. There's an orientation. If you notice, there's 2 1/8-inch holes, one above the other.
Yeah.
The lower one's for fuel. The upper one is for the air. We want the air here to flow around that radial gap here in the E-tube well. And we want it to be as far away as possible. Here, hold on, stop. Go ahead and pull that tube out. I want to show you. Okay, if you look down in the hole here, you're going to see a diagonal hole going off.
Yep.
That's the passageway going down to the auxiliary Venturi.
Okay, yep.
Okay, now look at the tube here. These holes have to be pointed 180 degrees away from that.
Okay.
So they'll be pointing towards each other here.
Okay, so...
Go ahead and put it in there. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, now take a little marker pen, and you're going to mark. I'll do it for you. This is where the hole wants. Those are where those holes want to be. Notice they're pointing towards.
Oh, I see. Oh,
you got it now?
Yeah, we're going to pull it out.
You're going to pull out one at a time, because if you mix it up, you got to start all over again.
Okay, and then we're going to clop them. And
yeah.
I see.
Pull one out at a time, and now turn those holes around so it's underneath that little mark, and put it back in again.
We've got the mark on there, so we can tighten them up and make sure that they're pointing.
Yeah, well, it's like a micrometer there with the threads. It'll always index at the same place.
Oh, okay.
Now, I say that, if you were to change a jet, like the wet jet, it may be a different height, so it'll clock around at a different...
I see.
So I would go and...
do it again.
If I were changing the jets, I would take the time to clock them back in again, right? And then I'll show you how to set the mixture here. Super easy. Man, I did it with my air fuel meter here. And when you do this, it will set the air fuel ratio at idle to 0.085 lambda, which is absolutely perfect. Now, have you noticed the little white caps here?
Yeah.
Well, if you pull those off, there's a little screw and a lock nut. Okay. Those are the idle air bypass valves.
Okay, and that's how you balance them.
Yeah. I mean, how do you balance between throats here?
Yep.
Well, whichever one has lesser flow, you open that valve here and make it the same. That's how you do it, okay?
Yep.
And this is easy means of eliminating tolerance stack errors here between these things.
Yep.
You can't make them perfect, and there's a lot of parts there, right?
Indeed, yeah.
So, Weber got smart here and put the idle air bypass. It's worth their weight in gold. Yes. My God, with the older carburetors, you got to take the carburetor off and drill a little hole through the butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
You know how tedious yet? It took me a couple of weekends here to finally get my DC-18s to actually be balanced correctly.
Okay.
When I had a chance of going with the modern day 151s or 152s, absolutely worth it. It's just not worth the pain. And the other thing is, the early carburetors had these leather seals here on the...
Yeah,
Weber calls them dust seals. They're vacuum seals, and if they don't actually seal the vacuum, you'll have such as a severe air leak that you can back the idle speed screw all the way off, and you can't lower the idle speed down to 1,000 RPM.
Yeah.
There'll be enough air leaking down the shaft there.
Yeah.
you got the latest sealed bearings here. But people think, oh, they're sealed bearings, they're going to hold vacuum. Nah. Okay, inboard of that are the little teeny lip seals here. And they wear out too. Again, when you can't control the idle speed here with the screw here, it's time to go in and do some maintenance here. You'll never get enough miles on this thing to. I've got about 10,000 hours into reverse engineering these jets. You should see how many jets I went through. I tried every idea you could possibly imagine, and the only way to do it was trial and error, right? To see if it worked. If it didn't work, move on. Try and come up with another idea.
Keeping notes.
But I've got it all documented in 3D on my CAD system. I mean, literally thousands of jets here. If I'd known it was this much work, I never would have started to begin with. Done between these two throws. What do we got? You're at 10. Go the other one. Pretty good. Yes. That's the idle mixture screw. What you're going to do here is you're going to close it all the way. And then you're going to count as you go half a turn, one full turn. Okay? And that cylinder will cut out. So we won't be getting any fuel. Hear it fall out? All right, open it up. Quicker. There's half a turn.
I'm not counting that.
Yeah, that's half a turn. There's one turn. There. Just kick in. Okay, keep going. There's 2. 2.5. 3. Hang on, let's slow it down. Open at 3. 3 turns. There's half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Okay, we haven't actually done the proper adjustment here yet. But I want to all the way back off. This is not behaving correctly. What do we do about that? All right, open these up 3 turns too. Let's see how bad it is. I don't like what it's doing here. Let's open that little cap right there over the progressive hole. See it right there?
Yeah.
Take that little cap off. Oh boy, that is really weird. Let me go get my flashlight. Now look, with the throttles all the way closed, that first progressive hole, you can't see the butterfly there. Normally, that means that you'll have an off-idle lean stumble. As you start moving, you'll get lean here coming off idle, right?
Okay.
And you'll have a lean stumble. But I can't get it down to idle speed to even determine that that's the case. And I don't know why. I don't like the way the throttles are closing here. Yet close the either mixture screws so the cylinder stops firing.
Yeah.
Then you probe around here. If the cylinder starts firing again, you found an air leak, right?
Okay.
Okay. Because this is really bizarre. We can't control the air. You got something wrong here. The spring's on the wrong side here. The little hinge should be there between the shafts on the butterflies. The hinge. It's around 180 degrees the wrong way.
Yeah, I put the hole in where I thought it was in your CAD drawing.
Yeah.
And I think the hole has to be on the other side. But
Well, maybe, and
but I got a brake
I
line
realized that bracket wasn't intended to be used in this way at all. It's for a bottom cable coming up, right?
there. Okay.
And I only realized that after the fact here. I bought the same bracket
Okay.
and then came to the realization that it was a piece of junk and didn't use it. But it's okay for this, but to mount the spring here, it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that at the moment.
Well, I've got this auxiliary spring on here too. So,
Yeah, but that ain't gonna work very well. See, in order for it to have a high idle like that, it takes air and fuel to do that, right?
Yep.
So it's getting air from somewhere. Where's it getting the air from? Well, I suppose it could be from these, the jets I put in there are too big.
But I was doing it before.
It was doing this before, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The symptoms.
There's
haven't
nothing
changed.
new that we just created.
Indeed.
Nope, not cycling, that's good. Okay, stick up that high.
Yep. I've actually bent it down a bit because it wasn't clearing underneath the hood.
Okay. See if that does the trick. That looks better. Push it close. It went still closed a little bit. See? I don't like that.
Okay, got the carbs off, we've got them fixed. Now we're going to reassemble. Okay, we've taken the carb off again. We're going to put in a stronger throttle return spring.
Pull it in there. Stick it in. Clamp it. You want to look for liquid coming out the other end.
Okay.
You might want to get a little paper towel there to. It's already idling nice.
It's idling really well, isn't it? Just make it a little bit richer.
Slightly. Okay, what I'm going to do now here, I'm going to test and see if you've got an off-idle lean stumble.
Okay.
And you do that with the idle speed screw, watch. I'm going to slowly raise it up. Let's see if I can sit. That should be 1,000 RPM right there.
Yeah, it's like 1,100. Pretty close.
Finally got the car home, back from Keith's. The car runs so much better than it did before. There's still some stumble around 3,500 RPM, but Keith has given me some new jets and some emulsifier tubes to try out. But the car made it. I made it on the freeway. So let's have a look. So next step is to do the fine tuning.